how to color a cartoon fish. Now let's begin our lesson. First, I'll take my pencil illustration that I created and import it into Adobe Illustrator. At this time, I'll make a custom brush to give the traditional inking effect that you will see in this video. Next, I'll export a version of the flat Illustrator file into Photoshop. The flat colors will help guide me as I select those areas to airbrush. You'll see how I create and get the effects throughout this video. As I begin inking in this fish right now, what you need to notice, I sped up this video about 2 times faster. What you'll also notice right now, I'm inking and I'm not ending where I should be. I'm overlapping. I create this effect really easy and simple to get those hard, crisp corners that I like in some of the areas. So this was a custom brush I created in Illustrator. And on another lesson, I'll explain how I create that and where I would use it. And if you don't like the line, sometimes you could just change it in the inking or undo it and come back again. So I'll explain all the fun stuff that's happening right now. And sometimes I might take the geometric shapes for like the eyes. In this case, I'm just going to ink it in manually. Alright, now at this moment, I took it to a technique. Now all those overlapping points, I can just quickly snap them and make them disappear, like cutting them out. That again I'll show in another video. But for right now, I just want to get this process done so we can lay the flat colors in that you can see me airbrush this little fish in. And I'm looking all over where those extra lines are overlapping. Sometimes you make a mistake, and that's why I like working on the computer. You can easily undo multiple times or zoom in. And in this case, let's see, I think I have some more on the bottom. Those two right there. Alright, so after that's complete, now I just simply put all the flat colors, any color. As you can see, my color wheel below, and I can select them and change them here as well as in Photoshop after when I'm airbrushing. But right now I'm just quickly laying in flat color so I can select in Photoshop the areas that I want to airbrush. This is traditional airbrush, would be known for frisketing out the area. A long, tedious process. So let's begin how I create the airbrush effect. So now I have my little magic wand. I'll select the areas that would only be selected for airbrushing. That's the baby blue and that teal area. And I'm just select a little darker blue and I'll just airbrush. As you notice, I didn't get the bottom fin there because it has been protected. And as well as right here. There we go. Alright, this has also been speeding up the process too. 2 times, I believe. And I'll just quickly go over with my eye. This is just a simple one. Some of my fish and other backgrounds I've done can take me several days to complete the entire process. This time I'm just spending a very quick process, giving some dimension, and then I'll come back in highlights and shadows where I might see them. As you can see, I like to use the hue, saturation, and darkness to set my color parameters. And I'll take my eyedropper every now and then, and maybe like right now, just create a little highlight, a little more lightness there, and maybe take a little purple. Purples are really good for shadowing. As you notice, I just lightly go over there. Now in Photoshop, I'll explain that at another time. I have multiple layers. For a fish like this, I could have up to 10 different layers just to get this fish done. So I'm not over spraying or coloring over something I may like. I can easily just undo that layer and hide it, and it will take away everything I just did. And as you can just see, I'm just going to take a thinner brush with my stylus. I'm working off of a Wacom right now with a pen. And there you go. So I can get a little bit smaller with my brush. And I kind of like to add some highlights, like sometimes whites, blues, and the purples, for the darkness. And I'll start very soft. When I'm working, my airbrush is very soft in a sense. I control the flow and the opacity, not at 100%. I like to put almost both of them at 50%. So when I'm coming over, sometimes I have to take 2, 3, 4 passes at the same time. When I'm pressing down, I'm pressing soft, not hard. So I'm building up. This is no different than when you're doing the pencil sketching. Like I said, start very lightly and get darker, as well as when I use my airbrush. Same technique, building it so it's not like a solid color coming out. That's why you kind of see me with the brush moving around left and right sometimes over the same area. I'm adding more and more color down. And then it's just the overall body. Now I select that whole area and add a little yellow on the top, and it blends that in there, gives more of a green, darker blue before on the bottom. Now I'm highlighting the little orange fin there. So now only the orange fin will be actually being worked on. Everything else is still protected. Again, you would have to do this traditionally. It was get frisket paper, put over it, and cut out that area, and then take it out. It's kind of like Scotch tape, best way to say it. There you can see a little bit more of that highlight when it's on that yellow. There, that orange, I mean. And a little bigger brush there to give it a little highlight. Yeah, I'm going to change the brush right now so I can get like this fin. Okay, yep, didn't like that. Okay, let me rotate a little bit there. That's the nice thing. You can adjust it at the same time, and also the opacity there. I made it a little lighter. So okay, now I'm going to get to it now. Yeah, that's better. Quick and quick. There you go. Sometimes it takes you several times to get the brush technique that you like. So now I'm going to be protecting the eyes, and I like to add like the gray. So now I got to switch back over to my airbrush. Okay, little blue, little gray there. Shadow. Again, you could change this in any color you want. It's just to give a little tone, and then I like it to give some dimension. Now I get the little lighter ones on the outside to give like the highlight. There you go. Yep. And then what I like to do is get a nice highlight on the eye. So I'll make a big one and a little one. As you can see, I overlap that so you kind of see it like a cutout. Kind of gives more of a dimension. I like that shine. And sometimes in the black areas, I might even add a dark color to give multiple. In this case, I didn't do that. So I just selected all the fins, all those yellow-green color throughout the fin. And I have my brush that's really large, as you can see. I'm just giving some overall shading in some areas lightly, and I'm going to be building up. Just making sure I have that top one. Let's change it a little darker. Get around that area. So again, my opacity and flow on my airbrush is very low. So that's why I'm constantly going over. I'm not pushing hard. I like to build up. There's a little yellow. Now I'm going to make this fin a little darker. There we go, the little shadow showing some dimension there. I guess behind the other side of the fish. Okay. Let's get the top part there too, the eyebrow, top of that fin, and a little bit of the top fin there. Now I'm going to select the lighter areas, change my brush again, and let's try to see if I can get that fin effect. Yep, there we go. That's much better now. There we go. There we go. All right. Good, good, good. This is just a quick little rendition. Again, this sometimes when I do these fish, it could take me hours to make sure I get everything I want to. I'm just spending about 15 minutes in getting this one done for you. It's not the level that I would go a lot further. But just to give you an understanding on the time and the techniques again, everything takes time. From the beginning of the pencil, ink, and this coloring, it probably took me about like 3 hours for this whole fish to do. You need to pace yourself and know your time as well. But some of my other projects could take days to complete if it's a full scene with fish in the water or a background. Alright, let's get the watercolor brush back out again. There we go. This is my watercolor brush. I'm giving the effect of little dots, little freckles. And I'm going to show you another technique that I like to do is go in the layers and control the opacity, different layers. You have multiply or overlap, only the dark and light. That's when I'm changing the modes right now. It blends in with that current background, as you can see. And I can figure out which one I like, and I can still change the color. So it doesn't look like the spots are flat on. So there you go. I can change it right now with my hue saturation mode. I'm just moving across there and you can see the colors change. Figuring out which one I like, and I can make it a little darker and more saturated. And I'm like, yeah, that looks good. As you can see, that colors from dark to orange, it's blending. I didn't do anything, but just changed the opacity as well. I'll show that technique in another video lessons. So I'm doing here is a possibility of some scales. Again, I created a new layer in Photoshop, so if I didn't like what I was doing, I just turn it off. And as you'll notice, at the end of this video, I didn't care for it, so I just turned it off quickly. Just quickly putting it down there and say, do I like it? Does it look good? Like, lighten it up. I can take the opacity down to make it a little softer. Which way, on, off? I'll just leave it off like I believe I did. And that's it. Complete the fish, simple. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thanks. Hey, check us out on Facebook. That's JMG Studio. And on our Instagram account, that's JMG Studio Cartoon. Take a look at our website, that's jmg-studio.biz, and check out some of our fun features we have available, as well as this drawing book, How to Draw 50 Different Cartoon Fish.